I'm Turk Strongman at Tharanki Ramatrakan. Greetings. Thank you for selecting this, what is it, 34th video in a series concerning the law of rhythm and how to use it. Before I get started with this continuation, I'm going to ask that if by the end of this video it turns out that you like it, please give it a thumb up. I'll remind you later. If you haven't done so already, by all means, subscribe to the channel. Take the time right now to do it. Click on the notification bell thing to activate that feature. And share the joy of the channel with others. Now, those things having been humbly requested, rhythm. Left off last time, reading from the Arcane Teaching. The last sentence that I read was, the pendulum ever swings, although we may escape being carried along with it. Now, continuing, there are other features of the operation of this principle of rhythm, of which we wish to speak at this point. There comes into its operations that which is known as the law of compensation. One of the definitions or meanings of the word compensate is to counterbalance, which is the sense in which the Hermetists use the term. It is this law of compensation to which the Kabbalion refers when it says, the measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. All right. The law of compensation is that the swing in one direction determines the swing in the opposite direction, or to the opposite pole. The one balances or counterbalances the other. On the physical plane, we see many examples of this law. The pendulum of the clock swings a certain distance to the right and then an equal distance to the left. The seasons balance each other in the same way. The tides follow the same law, and the same law is manifested in all the phenomena of rhythm. The pendulum, with a short swing in one direction, has but a short swing in the other, while the long swing to the right invariably means the long swing to the left. An object hurled upward to a certain height has an equal distance to traverse on its return. The force with which a projectile is sent upward a mile is reproduced when the projectile returns to the Earth on its return journey. The law is constant on the physical plane, as reference to the standard authorities will show you. All right. But the Hermetists carry it still further. They teach that a man's mental states, back to the mental states again, are subject to the same law. The man who enjoys keenly is subject to keen suffering, while he who feels but little pain is capable of feeling but little joy. The pig suffers but little mentally and enjoys but little. He's compensated. And on the other hand, there are other animals who enjoy keenly, but whose nervous organism and temperament cause them to suffer exquisite degrees of pain, and so it is with man. There are temperaments which permit of but low degrees of enjoyment and equally low degrees of suffering, while there are others which permit the most intense enjoyment, but also the most intense suffering. The rule is that the capacity for pain and pleasure in each individual are balanced. The law of compensation is in full operation here. But the Hermetists go still further in this matter. They teach that before one is able to enjoy a certain degree of pleasure, he must have swung as far proportionately to the other pole of feeling. They hold, however, that the negative is precedent to the positive in this manner. That is to say that in experiencing a certain degree of pleasure, it does not follow that we will have to pay up for it with a corresponding degree of pain. On the contrary, the pleasure is the rhythmic swing, according to the law of compensation, for a degree of pain previously experienced, either in the present life or in a previous incarnation. This throws a new light on the problem of pain. The Hermetists regard the chain of lives as continuous and as forming a part of one life of the individual, so that in consequence, the rhythmic swing is understood in this way, while it would be without meaning unless the truth of reincarnation is admitted. But the Hermetists claim that the master or advanced student is able to a great degree to escape the swing toward pain by the process of neutralization before mentioned. By rising on to the higher plane of the ego, much of the experience that comes to those dwelling on the lower plane is avoided and escaped. The law of compensation plays an important part in the lives of men and women, too. It will be noticed that one generally pays the price of anything he possesses or lacks. If he has one thing, he lacks another. The balance is struck. No one can keep his penny and have the bit of cake at the same time. Everything has its pleasant and unpleasant sides. The things that one gains are always paid for by the things that one loses. The rich possess much that the poor lack, while the poor often possess things that are beyond the reach of the rich. A millionaire may have the inclination toward feasting and the wealth wherewith to secure all the dainties and luxuries of the table, while he lacks the appetite to enjoy the same. He envies the appetite and digestion of the laborer who lacks the wealth and inclinations of the millionaire, and who gets more pleasure from his plain food than the millionaire could ever obtain, even if his appetite were not jaded, nor his digestion ruined, for the wants, habits, and inclinations differ. And so it is through life. The law of compensation is ever in operation, striving to balance and counterbalance, and always succeeding in time, even though several lives may be required for the return swing of the pendulum, the rhythm. That's the end of what is said specifically about the law of rhythm in the arcane teaching. So, this is a good place to stop this video. I will pick up with the same subject as referred to in the arcane formulas. I'm not sure how much is there. I'll have to take a look, but that'll be where we pick up in the next video. So let me see, is there anything I want to go ahead and say about this, what we just read right now? Well, there were some key things there that kind of came across pretty fast. The law of compensation. I think it was pretty much straightforward. Let's go back to what throws a new light on the problem of pain. I'll go through this a little bit more. But the Hermetists go still further in this matter. They teach that before one is able to enjoy a certain degree of pleasure, he must have swung as far proportionately to the other pole of feeling. They hold, however, that the negative is precedent to the positive in this matter. That is to say, that in experiencing a certain degree of pleasure, it does not follow that he will have to pay up for it with a corresponding degree of pain. On the contrary, the pleasure is the rhythmic swing, according to the law of compensation, for a degree of pain previously experienced either in the present life or in a previous incarnation. This throws a new light on the problem of pain. Well, what's the problem of pain? Well, sometimes we think about the idea of suffering or pain and wonder, perhaps, what we did to get that. Like, did we live too well in some previous life, or did we use up our share of pleasure in this life and now it's just all pain? Well, Is this what you get after all your work? Pain? Well, this is a one-way thing here, remember? You don't have to pay up for pleasure with later pain. The pleasure is that compensation. Pain has precedent, is precedent. That means we have the degree to which we have pleasure is the degree to which we've had pain, not the other way around. Okay? That's what that point was. And I think enough said about that. We're going to be at about 11 and a half minutes when I end. Did you like the video? If you did, please remember to give it a thumb up. And if you still did not subscribe to this channel, I don't know what's going on, man. Please do it now. And activate the notification bell feature thingy. And share the joy of the channel with others. Stay tuned for the next video in this series. And remember, you heard it first, right here on Thuranki Ramacharaka. I'm Turk Strongman. Go be well.